What if I told you that while only 1 out of the 5 cameras on the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra saw an actual hardware upgrade, there are several exciting things to look out for if you care about the camera system. Let me explain. Samsung upgraded the ultra-wide-angle camera of its flagship smartphone, and when taking full 50 megapixel resolution shots, we can clearly see an improvement in resolution and detail. When taking 12 megapixel shots, however, with the new ultra-wide-angle camera, the difference is barely noticeable. So to get the most out of the new camera, you should capture your photos in full resolution. But where things start to get really interesting is in low light. Thanks to the wider aperture of the new ultra-wide-angle camera, the S25 Ultra's new ultra-wide-angle camera brings more detail and better low-light performance. As far as the other cameras, at first I didn't notice much of a difference, but the more and more I compared both of these smartphones and captured more comparisons, I noticed that the S25 Ultra does process the images in a slightly more pleasant way, and particularly at max zoom, we can experience better details. Samsung, well done. The same applies to macro photography. When taking full 50 megapixel macro shots, there is noticeably more detail and clarity. And in low light, regardless of what resolution you shoot in, the new ultra-wide-angle camera produces significantly cleaner shots. Now let's talk about portrait mode. I don't feel comfortable stating that there are any significant improvements on the S25 Ultra. We have the same cameras and the same effects available to us, but perhaps the S25 Ultra produces warmer skin tones. This brings me to the selfie cameras, which also perform quite similar as far as image quality is concerned. But I noticed when taking selfie video, my skin tones look definitely more accurate on the S25 Ultra, whereas on the S24 Ultra, my skin tones were overshadowed by the room's color temperature. Now, for those who appreciate Samsung's Expert RAW application, I compared all cameras and I noticed that the raw DNG files from the S25 Ultra do turn out to be more useful when pushing the dynamic range. I applied a preset in Adobe Lightroom and opened up the shadows all the way, and the raw DNG files from the S25 Ultra do hold up better. There definitely seems to be an improved processing of these raw DNG files on the S25 Ultra. I look forward to playing more with Expert RAW. The S24 Ultra already had a filter menu where you could download filters or even create your own filters by using the color tones of an existing photo, which is a very interesting feature to have. But the S25 Ultra took its filters and color grading to the next level by allowing for more precise color grading, like on the iPhone with its photographic styles. Now, video mode is where things get even more interesting. The overall video quality and dynamic range are pretty much the same, but a big thumbs up to Samsung for finally giving us the option to record log video on the S25 smartphones. When you capture log video with your Samsung Galaxy, it will help you to preserve a broader dynamic range, and you can simply color correct your footage on your smartphone by swiping up on your screen and clicking on color correct. If you want to edit things in a more professional manner on your computer, you can download Samsung's official LUTs. I will leave the link in the video description down below. Now, the excitement doesn't stop with log video. When pushing the capabilities of the ultra-wide cameras in low light, we can immediately conclude that the new ultra-wide angle camera is simply a big win on the Samsung Galaxy, given its greatly improved low light performance. And I also noticed that in low light, the 1x main camera of the S25 Ultra is exposing the low light shots more intelligently, producing less noise like in the sky, whereas the S24 Ultra is producing more noise with the unnecessarily brighter exposure in the sky. Super Steady doesn't see any significant improvements when it comes to stabilization, but on the S25 Ultra you can now also use the 2x camera, whereas on the S24 Ultra you're limited to the wide camera and main cameras only. Slow motion capabilities also remain the same, but on the S25 Ultra we can now also use the ultra wide angle for slow motion and at 4K and 120 frames per second. I love capturing time lapses, so I was very excited to see that the S25 Ultra now allows you to capture HDR time-lapse videos. And you can now also use the 5x camera as well, which was previously not the case on the S24 Ultra. In my comparison, I shot 4K on both smartphones and I left the time-lapse settings on auto. And as you can see, while the overall resolution and detail are similar, we do get a better exposure as our shadows are lifted on the S25 Ultra. And just like on the newest iPhone, the Galaxy S25 Ultra now allows you to edit the audio of your video once captured as well. I'm at the gym and there's a lot of background noise. I'm going to use the audio eraser function. There are some presets that you can also adjust, or you can simply enable the auto function. I'm at the gym and there's a lot of background noise. I'm going to use the audio eraser function. This new feature works just as you'd expect, and you can remove unwanted noise. And last but not least, I don't see any significant differences when it comes to camera lens flare. So I think it's fair to say that the S25 Ultra succeeds with decent and much appreciated software upgrades over the S24 Ultra. And the new ultra-wide-angle camera is a game changer, making the camera experience more consistent. Now, being someone who uses both an iPhone and a Galaxy, I can say with confidence that the experience on the Samsung Galaxy more and more feels like using an iPhone. The camera app is more organized, feeling more like the iPhone camera app, where most settings are sort of hidden. So what do you think about the new S25 Ultra, and do you as a photographer think it's worth upgrading? Let me know in the comments section down below, and subscribe to stay tuned for my S25 Ultra versus iPhone 16 Pro Max comparison.